This is a story about a cruel serial killer and his victim, an 18-year-old student at Washington University. On January 4, 1974, in Seattle, the young girl Karen Sparks was returning home from university. She arrived at her basement room, which she rented with her friends on campus. In the evening, the unsuspecting future victim calmly went to sleep in her bed, not suspecting that this fateful night would leave a terrible imprint on her memory for the rest of her life. Killer broke into the basement apartment of a Karen. He beat her with a metal rod and raped her with other objects, causing serious injuries that required hospitalization. Sparks was unconscious and bleeding in her bed for several hours until around 7 p.m. That evening, when her roommates went to her room to check on her,
Bob came down and saw blood on my pillow, and he immediately called 911, and then he called my mother, told my mother and said, "Oh, Karen must have fallen down the stairs, it's bad."
Who could do this to an innocent girl? As it turned out later, it was a young man with a pleasant appearance and a charming character, Ted Bundy. He was a sociopath who lacked empathy for his victims. Ted Bundy was an American serial killer, rapist, kidnapper, cannibal, and necrophile active in the 1970s. His victims were young girls. The exact number of his victims is unknown. Shortly before his execution, he confessed to 36 murders between 1974 and 1978, but the real number of his victims could be much higher. How did it happen that the killer did not complete his case and Karen remained alive? In an interview, Sparks also suggests that it was her roommate's sleep-talking next door that frightened Bundy and prompted him to flee before taking her life.
It's cold, man. Asleep in the branches again.
I think that's why he didn't take me like the other girls, because Chuck was talking in his sleep, and I think that's what saved me.
Bundy did not leave fingerprints or other evidence at the crime scene, and initially he was not a suspect. Bundy continued his killing spree, murdering several young women in the Seattle area before moving to Utah and other states. It was not until 1975, when Bundy was arrested for reckless driving and refusing to stop for the police, that he became a suspect in the Karen Sparks case. When the police searched Bundy's car, they found a ski mask, crowbar, and handcuffs that matched the items used in the attack on Karen Sparks. They also found clothing and other evidence linking him to other murders. In the end, Bundy was found guilty of attacking Karen Sparks, as well as several other murders, and was sentenced to death. He continued to deny his guilt and play intellectual games with the police and the families of his victims until his execution in 1989.
This creepy story about serial killer Ted Bundy shows us once again that good looks and manners are not always a sign of a good person. Be careful.